Hello and welcome to Deep Cuts the Game, the movie trivia podcast where I give my three contestants three different movies and they try to come up with the most random, obscure, or minor actors they can think of. The deeper the cut, the more points they get. I'm your host, Jeff Pan, and with me as always, the guy who, if he was a tariff, would be 100%. Alex Young. How you doing, bud?
Good. Is that a compliment or a scathing insult?
I don't know. You're 100%. That's, you know.
All right. I'm going to see
if I said zero, it would have been, if I was 50, I don't know.
I guess.
Alex, take it from me. People don't know what tariffs are.
I mean, that's fair. Great segue for me, though, because we're recording this on April 9th, which was supposed to be Nintendo Switch 2 pre-order day.
Yeah.
But I won't get political, so I'm not going to name any names, but somebody levied a bunch of tariffs. And now they're not available for pre-order in America, and in the 11th hour that also cascades to Canada as like a North America will roll out at the same time, which is fine. I didn't actually really want to get up and line up today, so it ended up working out fine. But it got me thinking about video game adaptations, because Minecraft is in the theater right now and it's doing really well, and the news cycle seemed really surprised that it did well at the box office, which I felt like that was kind of a given. I mean, I don't play these games, not a big fan of it, but I know the brand and I feel like it's pretty huge. I'm not surprised it made money.
It's essentially been its own Lego as well for years.
Yeah, and it's been around for what, like 15 years now?
It feels like it, at least. And it's like something like my son still plays like on like Roblox and stuff like that. Like that's any money he gets goes into that sort of thing. So yeah.
Goes into Roblox?
That's
what he's investing in right now?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it got me wondering, Jeff, what like good and bad, because there's been a lot of video game adaptations. I know I made you watch some weird extended cut of the Mario Brothers movie from the 80s
on like YouTube, didn't we?
Yeah,
didn't we watch that on
like some like work print cut that was like supposed to be way better. I cannot say if that is true because it was terrible.
Honestly, I don't know. Has there been a good video game movie adaptation?
Yeah, there's been a bunch.
Okay, I was going to say, because that got me thinking. I saw someone tweeted it or something last week, and I'm sorry I can't give them any credit, but I did find a story, and they probably just stole it from this story. It was that the best video game movies are actually not based on video games. So something like Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Well, it's based on a graphic novel.
It is, but it's essentially a video game. Like,
sure, that's true.
The one up, Edge of Tomorrow is essentially just a video game you're playing over and over again. And then like Tron, not based on any game, but and then King of Kong, the Donkey Kong, and I was like, honestly, that is probably the best video game or arcade movie that's ever been made. And then as a kid, one of my favorites was Cloak and Dagger, which was a video game that got turned into a movie with Dabney Coleman. And
I don't know this one.
Oh, it's good. It's good. The kid's dad is like, I'm not even going to explain it to you, Alex, but Dabney Coleman, kid, he gets involved with spies, has to kill someone, and he's like 12 years old, and it's horrific. But as a kid, you're like, yay.
But like actual game adaptations that are good.
Yes.
The animated Mario Brothers movie from a couple years ago, which made over $1 billion, is pretty solid.
Okay.
The first Resident Evil, I will defend as like kind of a classic. And Werewolves Within, the one with
I didn't know. I guess I've kind of forgot that was a game. But
yeah, that was a Ubisoft game that they adapted into like a very good horror comedy with a great cast. Be a good deep cuts, Jeff.
I wonder if enough people have seen it though, Alex.
Nope. The answer is no. Also, apparently, the Rock movie Rampage is actually based on the game Rampage.
Yeah, it's with the monsters punching the building.
That's ridiculous. Why was that adapted? Because that movie I also saw in the theater and shouldn't have.
No. While we're talking about stuff, I had no segue, so I just said that. I needed to make a point correction for last week, Alex. One of our players in last week's episode, Brantley Palmer, for the movie Armageddon, said one of the NASA scientists was in the movie Election. He could not pinpoint me to who he was. A couple days later, he sent me a text, and it was the vice principal in the movie Election was one of the NASA scientists named Matt Malloy. So that's a bonus, that's 18 extra points for Brantley Palmer to give him 79, Alex.
Didn't he already win the game?
He did. He was just rubbing it in your face at this point. You were
Yeah.
like the dog that weed on the floor, and he just pushed your nose in it.
That seems right.
Why don't we introduce our two guests today, Alex? First up, he's a film critic, a journalist, and an author. And I got to scroll over, whose work has helped shape the way we talk about movies. You've likely read his insightful reviews and deep dives on Screen Crush and other major outlets, where he brings a sharp eye and deep love for cinema. He's also the author of Opposable Thumbs: How Siskel and Ebert Changed Movies Forever, a must-read for any film fan looking to understand the legacy of the two most iconic critics in history. Whether he's breaking down classic films, tracking box office trends, or highlighting overlooked gems, he always brings my computer something fresh to the conversation. Please welcome to the show, Matt Singer. Matt, welcome to the show. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. You're hired. You're my new publicist. Thank you so much. We're going to get you a new computer, but otherwise, that was fabulous. You make me sound very impressive.
I mean,
Not
it's just
stupid, which I am.
I mean, you have books that people have. I'm
A
assuming
lot of
paid
dumb
money.
people have written books. Come on.
But so I gotta think. I don't want to say how old I think you are, but it is interesting that you've written a book about Siskel and Ebert, because as a
How
kid,
old do you think I am?
well,
This is
I'm
a
gonna
trap.
say
Jeff. Don't fall
it
into
is a
this trap.
but he's not a lady, so I don't feel bad about getting trapped like this. I'm gonna say you're in your 45 area. That's what I'm gonna say.
I hope
Just
he's 23.
My 45 area. That sounds weird. You're close. I'm 44.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Hey, that is
I
definitely
guess
the area.
is it a Price is Right situation where you can go over?
Did I go over?
You
Yeah, I
technically
think
went
I
over, but if under by one can be in the area, then I guess you nailed it.
Yeah, I think you're in the mid 40s, because I was just going to say, like, I don't think nowadays people really care. I don't want to say people don't care about film critics, but there isn't that.
They don't.
You know, you had your
No, but they don't.
You had your because everyone's a critic now, right? Like every person's got a Patreon.
Everyone thinks they're a critic, Jeff.
Yes, but what's the everyone's got a Letterboxd account, and it's like, follow me here, and it's like, we write these long reviews that nobody ever sees.
Account.
So do I and I stopped using it because I was
Is my whole life a sham? Is that am I having my moment of clarity now that I'm in my 45 area? Did it just happen?
Well, I was just gonna say, and I think there's something about the word critic that when people hear that, it's kind of taken as a negative, right? Like, obviously not all film critics are but the word critique, you don't like, even the term my own worst critic. Like, there is no, I'm my own best critic. Like, nobody is their best critic.
Why be negative? Why can't I be my best critic? Maybe I am my best
could.
critic.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
I
it would be nice
to be the best critic I can be. Is that the same thing?
You could be the best critic you can be, but to yourself, you're probably not. I think we're always probably tougher on ourselves than we need to be. But this is getting really...
I am not. I'm so supportive of all the bullshit that I do.
I mean, you do a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, you get it.
This is not the direction I wanted to go, but I just thought it was like, as a kid growing up, I did watch a lot of like film critics, because every newscast had their own guy. So whether it was like Siskel and Ebert, or for me, I was always a Leonard Maltin fan. Mm-hmm. There was just something like, and you had to have the right jacket, the vest, the patches on the elbows, like you were a professor at some university. You've got the Gene Shalitz and the other guy. Like, there's just, I can't think of any names of film critics now for the most part, but in like 1987, I knew a bunch.
You could say my name. I'm one. I'm right
here.
My name's on the little Zoom window.
Matt Singer. Yes.
Yeah, there's
what got you into kind of doing that historical take on those two film critics?
Well, as someone in the 45 area, I was a big fan of their show growing up. A huge fan of Siskel and Ebert, and that was not only my introduction to film criticism, it was really my introduction to film. I watched movies, obviously, but certainly not critically, and certainly not any more than any other sort of dorky kid. The thing that really opened my eyes to older movies and art house films and all those sorts of things was Siskel and Ebert, watching their show, them talking about independent movies, recommending them. And then, on their show, they always had a video pick of the week, a Laserdisc pick of the week, later a DVD of the week, whatever it might be. And, a lot of those movies were older films that I might not have heard of until they started talking about them. And then that was like the gateway drug for me. That led to, like you mentioned, Leonard Maltin. I used to watch Leonard Maltin on TV as well, but kind of more important for me than that was like the Leonard Maltin guide. I would get one of those guides, and people like use that like as kind of a reference thing. They would leave it on their coffee table or somewhere and just kind of glance at it. I would, like the most pathetic human being on earth, I would like read it. Like I would study it almost like Talmudically. It was pathetic. But again, these are all like dominoes falling over, and you kind of realize that you're suddenly really interested in older movies and independent cinema and foreign filmmakers. And I had written one book that was published, one book that wasn't published, and I was looking for something else to write and a subject. And there had been a very, obviously Roger Ebert wrote a bunch of books, including a memoir, and there was a documentary about him that was based on the memoir. But there was never a Siskel and Ebert book specifically. Their partnership only makes up 3 chapters in Ebert's book, which is a fabulous memoir, Life Itself. It's a great book, but it's not the Siskel and Ebert book. And so it felt like there was, maybe for a passionate fan who wanted to pay tribute to these guys like me, it felt like there was a space there for my book to perhaps exist.
Yeah, most definitely. And yeah, like you mentioned the Leonard Maltin book. Like I remember going to my sister's house and she had that there. And yeah, I would sit there and read through it, and like, yeah, and I always try to find like some obscure movie that, someone had told me, but oh my gosh, it actually does exist, kind of thing. Now you have another book that Alex and I are big comic book nerds. You worked on the Spider-Man book, From Amazing to Spectacular. How did you get involved into that?
Well, the long answer is that I grew up at the time that I was not that much of a movie fan. Before I discovered Siskel and Ebert, I was a huge comic book fan, and I was a huge Spider-Man fan. And as incredibly lucrative as being a film critic is and was and always will be, being a comic book critic was even less, an even less viable career path. Otherwise, that's probably what I would have been and done with my life, because I've always loved comics and loved them before I was even that invested in movies. But I've worked in comic book stores and, remained a fan. And then I had contributed to some books at this publisher named Inside Editions, a very cool publisher that does a lot of books about movies and comics. And, that had gone, like I contributed to a book that was connected to like this James Cameron miniseries, this television miniseries, I think it's James Cameron's Story of Science Fiction or something like that. And it was on AMC. It's a really cool miniseries. I was a talking head on it. And then the publisher said, we're putting together a companion book. Would you want to contribute an essay? And I said, sure. At that point, I hadn't written any books. And it was a good foot in the door. I ended up writing 2 essays in that book. I think somebody else flaked at the last minute and they needed someone else to step up. And I said, sure, I'll do a second one. So I had 2 essays in there, and it went well. And I said, if there's ever any books that you guys need, I'd love to. I want to write a book. So if you have anything, let me know. And then a couple of months later, someone there reached out and said, hey, are you a fan of Spider-Man? And it's the question I've been waiting my entire life to be answered by someone, and thank God someone asked it. And so that was how it started. And then it's, if you haven't seen the book, it's basically like it's like a giant coffee table book filled with artwork. I got to pick. I was very involved in the picking of all the artwork in the book, and then I wrote the whole thing. And I'm actually, I was just extremely proud of how it turned out. It really turned out wonderfully. And like as a kid, another book that I loved besides the Malton Guide, besides Roger Ebert's books, were for my birthday every year, I would always get like a big comic book coffee table book. There's like that Marvel Universe one by, I think it's Peter Sanderson, maybe something like that. And there's another one that's just called Marvel by Les Daniels. And I had a DC one. I loved those books as a kid. I would also, like the Malton Guide, I would read them cover to cover like a pathetic loser. And so my goal was, I didn't have a Spider-Man book like that. And so my goal was to write the book that I would have wanted to have on my shelf. And at least for myself, I feel like I really succeeded. And so if that's something that you would be interested in, it's a history of Spider-Man comics. It's not about the movies. It's just the comic books. And it's now a couple years old, so it's not going to have whatever is going on in Spider-Man this month. But for up until where, I finished it, it's a pretty good kind of introduction and overview of, 50, 60 years of Spider-Man history.
Well, my cupboard is full of books like that. I won't bore you by showing you. And as a kid, my thing was, Alex knows, I used to love the Marvel handbooks, which were essentially like the encyclopedia of the Marvel universe. And I would sit there and I would read those more than I would actually read the comic books. And then unlike you with the Leonard Maltin per se, I would also have Total Baseball or the Baseball Encyclopedia. And I would just sit there at like 1901 and just start going through the stats year by year. So if anyone wants to know about home run Frank Baker, I can tell you all about him and the 8 home runs he hit to get the nickname.
Jeff, you were so
home
cool.
Run. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, super
real cool dudes here. That's what we're saying.
Well, we've got another guest with us today. His name is Kevin Sludder. If there's a movie, Sludder. If there's a movie, old or new, Kevin has probably watched it and most likely reviewed it on his social media platforms. Now he claims not to remember names, faces, or anything else, but feels a good dressing down is in this game might be good for his humility. Please welcome to the show, Kevin. Kevin, thanks for being here.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? I feel like Rocky in the first Rocky movie.
And this is, you're going up against Carl Weathers here. Yeah, I mean, hey, you never know. So I've noticed you do some reviews, and like I think I kind of caught on to you about a time you were doing like all the X-Men movies.
Yes.
And so I was just curious, like when you're on a roll like that, like are you picking like this theme as is it just a roll of the dice, or just kind of like, I really want to watch the X-Men, I haven't watched them in 10 years, this is what we're gonna do?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I have a huge spreadsheet with like everything that I want to eventually watch on my for my blog. I will never do that because there's just too many movies, or not enough. Depends on who you ask. But but I do have like I will enter some of the topics into like a spinning wheel, like a Wheel of Fortune wheel, and I will let that pick for me sometimes. And so landed on, actually that one was fan voted. I put up X-Men, Indiana Jones, and a couple other things, and the people chose X-Men. So I also felt like it was X-Men has a lot of themes that are kind of relevant, but yeah.
See, I try to do that to myself too. Like I've got like a movie app where I've got all the movies I own kind of thing, and I can shake it and it'll give me a random movie, and I'll look at it and go, no, I don't want to watch that. And I'll do that 50 times. And I'm like, I just don't follow through. I'm like, no, I'm going to watch the thing I want to watch, which is probably something I've seen 12 times already.
Yeah.
So I've asked this to some other guests before. You've watched a ton of movies. Is there a movie that's kind of like your hidden gem that like when you hear someone talking about movies, you're like, oh, you know what you need to watch? Like, what's kind of like your go-to to kind of like not tell people how cool you are with movies, but just like, I know movies.
I think so. I don't know if this is necessarily the movie to answer that question, but like when friends and people ask me like for a recommendation that they probably have not heard of, my go-to for the last 5 years has been Sound of Metal.
Okay,
that was
nice.
great.
Yeah, I think it's such a powerful movie to me, and like I love music. Just the idea of like losing a part of yourself and trying to like process that, it's like a really great portrayal of grief, and not in like the traditional kind of way that you would think. So that's been my go-to for like the last 5 years. Plus, it's easily accessible because it's on Amazon, and a lot of people have Amazon. So
Cool. Well, Kevin, I hope you're ready to punch some frozen cow in a freezer because you're going up against Alex and Matt Singer tonight. So the first thing we do when we play Deep Cuts is I've thought of a movie that has maybe nothing or something to do with the game tonight, and I'm just going to you're each going to take a guess and try to figure out what movie am I thinking of. So Alex, we'll start with you. Alex, what movie am I thinking of?
Jeff, I'm hoping you're thinking of one of my favorites from my youth that I literally, just before we started, pre-ordered the Steelbook 4K remaster of Return of the Living Dead.
Return of the Living Dead. I'm
Is
not
that what you're
thinking of. I was not.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Kevin, alphabetically, you're next. What movie am I thinking of?
based on what we were talking about before we went on here, I'm gonna guess the movie Idiocracy.
Shit, dude, I literally almost I had that. I was like, nah, it's too on the nose.
Wow.
Man,
That's impressive.
Very close, very close. Matt, what movie do you think I'm thinking of?
Well, you said Kevin was close.
Well, he was close in the sense that I thought of that movie and I was like, I've already done one political statement tonight. I'm gonna maybe stay away from.
Okay.
So it has nothing to do with Kevin's not close with his guess.
it.
He was close that I almost
All right.
did do that.
Well, okay. Well, you mentioned baseball, so how about Major League?
That's a good one. I do like that one. It is not though. It's Valley of the Dolls, which, if I'm not mistaken, did not Ebert do the screenplay for that? Am I?
You are incorrect. Ebert wrote the screenplay for the sequel, the unrelated sequel.
Oh, that's right.
Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
Valley of the Dolls.
Valley of the Dolls.
Damn
Was
it.
the original.
Well, either way,
novel.
I was wrong, and everyone else was wrong too.
Great,
Kevin.
Great.
Just because
he's correcting the host already, man. I'm done.
Oh, dude, I have to name actors in movies. What is there a precedent for a lowest score on the show?
There is.
What is? What is the lowest possible? What is the lowest historical score?
In season 1, someone put up 5 points.
Okay.
So
my
this
goal
season,
is to get 6
Alex
points.
did 12.
That's what I need.
Alex did 12. There's no way you're not getting it with the 3 movies that I've chosen for you.
Right.
So
you say that now.
Challenge accepted.
Kevin, I'm going to let you choose. Would you like to go first, second, or third?
I'm going to go third.
Kevin in the 3 spot. Matt, because you're our guest and no one was really close at all, would you like to go first or second?
I'll go second.
Second for Matt. And Alex, that puts you at number 1. So the 3 movies on tonight's game of Deep Cuts are, and I was trying to think, why did I choose these movies? I believe, Matt, on your website, I think you've got a list of your favorite movies or the best movies from each year, if I'm not mistaken. Kevin, you mentioned being in film school in a certain era. So I kind of chose from that era and movies that were on Matt's list. So from 2007, No Country for Old Men. From 2008, The Dark Knight. And if everyone's like, which one is that? It's the second one of the
best
series.
one. It's the best one.
And from 2017, because I wanted to stick, I had 2 really great directors kind of from this era. I wanted to take a third director from this era. So from 2017, Baby Driver. I will tell you this at this point, there are no actors that appear in more than one of these films, so don't worry about trying to get any crossovers. And while you're writing down some names, let's hear a word from our sponsors. Movie buffs and collectors, this one's for you. MoviePosters.com offers an incredible selection of posters for every taste, from obscure indies to your blockbuster favorites.
Hey Jeff, do they have any Jay Baruchel posters?
Well, I do know they've got How to Train Your Dragon.
And Jeff, have they any Sean Connery motion pictures?
Yeah, Alex. Zardoz?
And do they have any posters for Christopher Walken movies?
Yes, Alex, they do.
Go to movieposters.com and use promo code DeepCuts15 to get 15% off your next purchase. This is my real voice.
All right. Why don't we bring it back? You can keep writing down names for our players. Alex, I was thinking while I was walking one day, and I think I need to apologize to you because I am rather tough on you and how poorly sometimes you do in the game. Because no, and I'm gonna like explain it because for Kevin and Matt, the movies were chosen based on a list of movies that Matt had reviewed and said were his best movies of each year. Kevin was also a film student in those years, and like often, like people send me a list of their favorite movies, and I'll choose one of the 10 kind of thing. For you, you never get that. You're always just here. You're just playing. So sometimes you've never heard of the movies,
That's true,
or like them, kind of thing. So, so maybe I'm just a little rough on you. But that being said, you get to go first. What's your first deep cut from any of these 3 movies, Alex? You can go wherever you would like.
I will take. I'm gonna just start out of the gate with my deepest cut, which isn't that deep. But in Baby Driver, one of the robbers in the cold open is Flea from the California surf rock band Red Hot Chili Peppers.
He is. I don't know if it's in the cold open.
Is he not in the beginning with the Mike Myers masks? Gag?
He is. That's not the beginning.
Oh, I see. I haven't seen it in so long.
It's
That's
like
how the trailer starts.
It's like the second job they do where yes, they have the Mike Myers mask, but not the killer mask. It's the Austin Powers. So Flea is worth 9 points, Alex.
Great.
You already have more points than the lowest score ever. So congratulations. Matt, you are on the clock with your first deep cut. And like I said, Alex, you can choose from any of these 3 movies. You don't have to do Baby Driver. You can go back and forth to any movie you would like.
I'm definitely not doing Baby. I don't know what list you were looking at, but Baby Driver wouldn't be on it because it's a movie I've only seen one time in my life, and I'm not a huge.
Well, I think I ran out of time. I was like, listen, I've already given Matt 2, so I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Yeah, so
all right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, okay, because I barely. Yeah, I could name a couple of the people that were the main characters, but Flea, okay, sure, yeah, he was great. I guess I don't know.
I watched it again about a month ago, and I was like, oh yeah, Flea's in this thing.
So I honestly I don't really know any really obscure people in any of these movies. I could name the stars, but I'm racking my brain trying to think of anyone who qualifies as a more obscure person. I think the best I can do is probably I am fairly sure that even though he's the villain in the first movie, I believe Cillian Murphy shows up in The Dark Knight to play the Scarecrow briefly again.
Briefly, yes.
So I will say him.
So he's worth 10 points because yes, while he is
I will not be the lowest scoring person on the history of the show. That's it. I'm done. Good night. Good night, everyone.
He is a big star at the time. He was not very well known still, right? Like this is
it was like 28 Days Later and Breakfast on Pluto.
Yeah. So 10 points, and like I said, very small part in this one. People often forget that he came back for this one. Does he come back for the third one as well?
Yes, he does. He is holding trial, and his gavel is just a hammer.
That's right. So Kevin, now we're on to you. You get 2 in a row. So what are your first 2 deep cuts?
So those were my first 2 deep cuts. I'm gonna. This might be a little piece of trivia, so that might be wrong. But okay. I think the rapper T.I. is in The Dark Knight as one of the gangsters during the Joker's thing.
T.I. I'm gonna have to T.I. like not the director, right? Like no,
just the letters
T
and
I.
Clearly, Jeff's a big fan.
Big.
What's your favorite T.I. song?
Yeah.
Sing it for us, Jeff.
Alex, get it. Like we said, Matt was in his 45 range. I'm closer to the 50 range, Alex. So, yeah. So I'm gonna have to look. Kevin.
Okay. Sure.
Just because. So we're thinking he's part of the crew of that's at the deal where
the opening
he makes the pencil disappear. I think is kind of what we're thinking in that general scene.
Yeah, he's in that scene. I'm pretty sure. I might be having a mental breakdown and misremembering.
I wonder, and also my concern is he potentially credited by his real name kind of thing, like sometimes Marshall Mathers as opposed to Eminem kind of thing, because at this time I'm not seeing any T.I.
Okay.
We could always come back and check after So you
Sure.
took a big swing. Hopefully,
took-
we come back to you with some points later on in this game. But at this point, I'm just going to keep it rolling, and we're going to say TI question mark.
TI TBD.
All right. So maybe you can
Great.
take a look for that after we're done and let me know. But right
You
now, we're
got
just going to say TI question mark. So what is your second deep cut?
I'm just gonna go with I think John Bernthal is in the beginning of Baby Driver. He's only in there for like 5 minutes. I think he was like on the
He is part of the
That's a good call.
first. He's part of the opening, Alex. He's one of those. So
I totally forgot that. Well remembered.
and he's like he's kind of the jerk to him, if I'm not mistaken. He keeps taking his sunglasses.
yeah.
always a jerk, isn't he? Like
That's his thing. Yeah. He's worth 7 points for John Bernthal.
okay, not
that's-
lowest score of all
Not
time.
the lowest score.
did
And who
it.
knows?
We all
TI
did
did
it. We
it.
recognized. Let's just cut it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's good.
TI could be worth a ton of points if
I
he's
hereby
in this film.
retire.
Matt, what is
fire
your
me,
second
I
deep
quit.
cut?
Well, I guess I have other names here, but they're all very obvious names. I guess I'll go to No Country for Old Men. There are obviously the main roles in that movie. The one that I often forget is in it, unless I'm wrong and he's not. Not in it at all. In which case, I don't forget him. I forget him because he's not in it. Is Woody Harrelson? I believe is
Woody Harrelson is in it. Yeah,
in
he's
that
actually he's called out to also collect the suitcase or whatever, and is put down by
another person in that movie.
Spoiled.
Yes.
Yes.
So yes, Woody Harrelson for 7 points.
Hold
Because
on.
it's a small part. But yeah, he's got a nice little monologue, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he has like
So, yeah,
one or
Woody-
two big scenes. Yeah.
Woody Harrelson.
That's
7
why I
points.
forget
Well
he's in it sometimes.
done. Alex, you get your second and your third deep cuts.
Okay, so I'm taking both of these from The Dark Knight, and I think I mentioned this last week or the week prior, but in the bank robbery opening of The Dark Knight, famously, William Fichtner is the bank robber, or sorry, the bank manager. He's the bank manager with a shotgun.
Yes. William Fichtner, small part, pretty much dies right away. Like,
Yeah. So, don't you know whose
Wow,
money
spoiler
this
alert.
is? Yeah, for real.
he's worth 12 points, Alex. Well done.
Amazing.
Because yeah, small part. Sometimes an unknown actor. We like him because he's a very good deep cut kind of guy.
Yeah, Armageddon.
Armageddon, yes. So what is your third deep cut then?
This also came up, I think, in the same episode. But Eric Roberts is in
He
that
is.
movie.
He
gets
is,
interrogated by the Batman.
Yeah, who drops him off the building, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken. He's like, I won't. He's like, you don't know anything about. He's like, I won't die from this height. He's like, I don't want you to die.
I'm counting on it. And drops
Yeah,
it.
and he just breaks his leg. So yes, Eric Roberts for 10 points. Is he like Carmen Falcone or something like that?
He's
one of the
he's like one of the Falcone henchmen or underbosses or some such, whatever.
Yeah. So 10 points. Well done. You're doing good. You're doing good, buddy. Matt, you're also doing very well for a guy who was very concerned. doing
Well,
well?
we're dropping off quickly here though. And I don't have anybody else who's even remotely obscure in any of these movies. Certainly nowhere on the level of a William Fichtner or a Eric Roberts. I'm trying to think who would be the who's the least famous or the most supporting of all of these incredibly famous people I have written down on this piece of paper. I guess let's just go with Michael Caine in The Dark Knight because I love Michael Caine and I'll get to talk a little bit like him and do my bad impression of him or my bad Steve Coogan doing Michael Caine impression
Even better.
right now.
Michael Caine, yes, he's worth 3 points. Very famous actor, fairly big role in all the Batman films. And yeah, but he's great. Everyone loves Michael Caine. Kevin, you've got your third deep cut, and then we're going to we'll give you a halfway point breakdown. I may try to find this TI. I'm looking. I'm not seeing anything yet.
I'm
Kevin.
thinking I got the wrong superhero movie, man.
Yeah, maybe.
I think he's I think he is isn't he one of the supporting guys in the Ant-Man movies?
You're right.
Oh, he is. He's
He
part of his
plays-
crew.
I mean, that doesn't mean he couldn't be in the Dark Knight, but that's the only thing. If you ask me what movies is T.I. in,
He's part of like the
Okay.
ex-con security.
he's one of the
I've-
con guys. Yeah,
I've got him here on IMDb.
that's-
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
He was in the first-
Takers.
yeah.
He's got 133 acting credits.
Jesus.
Wow. TMI.
So if you're gonna guess a rapper, T.I. is not a bad one to guess.
More like TMI if he's in that many
A lot of it
movies.
is music videos and stuff like that, but still,
Okay,
he
that's
is, and he does some voice work, and he was in Pop Star, Never Stopping. And yeah, but unfortunately, he is not in any Batman films. He's an Identity Thief. If you happen to watch that,
The immortal classic.
yeah. So Kevin, what is your third deep cut?
I'm glad Matt said Woody Harrelson because the guy who hires Woody Harrelson, I believe, is Stephen Root.
Yeah, he is Stephen
done.
Root.
Nice.
Stephen Root from News Radio and Office Space.
famously, and the
Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett.
He's worth 12 points for Stephen
Oh.
Root. Yeah, because I mean he's not as well known of an actor as these other people, and yeah, a very smaller part than Woody Harrelson. So well done. You're back in the mix.
Let's
Kevin,
go.
you have 19 points at the half. Matt, you have 20 points. So that nice Stephen Root got you right back in it, Kevin. And Alex, you have 31.
Pretty good.
So yeah, good game. Everyone's doing well. Kevin, what's your fourth deep cut?
Oh gosh, it's not gonna be worth nothing. So instead, I'm gonna add a little tidbit about the Michael Myers masks.
Okay.
They could not get permission to use the Michael Myers masks, so they used Mike Myers mask,
That's amazing.
which is hilarious. Anyway, one of the people wearing one of those masks is Jamie Foxx.
Yes, it is. Jamie Foxx, kind of one of the main villains in that. So he's worth 4 points. 4 points for Jamie Foxx. Alex, we were talking about Severance just before we started recording, and you finished it. The guy who's in Severance, he's like at one scene, he's the dentist. He's like a dent. Do you know who that was?
I watched one little featurettes and they told me all about him, and then I immediately forgot.
He's the voice of the Beast in the Beauty and the Beast animated.
I didn't
movie.
cover that because he's also a character actor from the 80s. But I did not know he's the Beast.
He's the Beast. And then, you know what I didn't know, and hopefully this rings a bell for anyone else who ever watched Seinfeld, but there's an episode of Seinfeld where Elaine's going to the video store, and there's all the different picks by the different people who work at the video store, and there's Vincent's picks. And it turns out Vincent is like a 16-year-old boy that like just likes art house movies. But when she talks to him on the phone, it's just like, this is Vincent. You got to get this movie. And like, blah, blah, blah. It's him. It's that guy who was the Beast, which makes sense because he's like, don't look at my face. I'm hideous.
Jesus Christ.
And he's a 16-year-old boy with pimples, but he's also the Beast. So I thought, oh, that's right. And I didn't know that until last night. Well done, Kevin. 4 points for Jamie Foxx. Matt, you got yourself a really good game going here. What's your fourth deep cut?
My first shallow cut of the night, or my second, since my last one was pretty shallow too. I'm not even sure if this person is in Baby Driver, which again I said I've only seen one time. The Mike Myers thing did ring a bell. I remembered that when you said it, but I don't think if you had asked me what masks do they wear in that scene, I wouldn't have remembered. So I'm like 40% certain this person is in this movie, but I think if I name any of these other people, I'll only get 1 or 2 points anyway. And maybe this person will only be worth a couple of points. But is John Hamm in Baby Driver?
John Hamm is in it.
Okay.
And because the movie has kind of like a rotating, like the first third, it's these guys, and then it's a bunch of others, and then some of them get brought back in. John Hamm is in and out of this movie a little bit. He's worth 4 points, same as Jamie Foxx, because he has about the same amount of screen time. So 4 points, that's not bad. It's not bad at all. Alex, what's your fourth and then your fifth deep cut?
Well, I'm really glad Matt mentioned John Hamm because I am about to give you John Hamm's love interest in that movie, who I mean, she's in a fair amount. She's in about as much as he is. I don't think she's worth a ton, but she's probably less famous than John Hamm because I don't know her name. But she was in the Michael Bay guilty pleasure that I like, Ambulance.
She was. I have that written down. Her name is Eliza Gonzalez. She was also in the cold open of the Mr. and Mrs. Smith series with Donald Glover. She's
like
out on like the farm with
Alexander Skarsgård.
Yeah, and they get killed, and you're like, who the fuck were these two people? And we never see them again. But they were kind of the original Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So she is worth 6 points, Alex.
Great.
What is your 5th deep cut?
One of the leads, I want to say wife or possibly ex-wife. It's been a really long time since I've seen No Country, but is Kelly MacDonald. I think she's in a fair amount. She's probably not worth a ton, but
she is. Yeah, Kelly MacDonald from Trainspotting.
And that show you love, Giri Haji. And
Giri Haji. Brave is the voice
in Brave.
And she has a very small cameo in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Alex.
Oh.
I think she's a newspaper, like a news reporter, reporting on Sam Rockwell. So 40, you've got 6 points. You're doing really well, Alex. I think you got a chance to win this.
What's
one.
She worth?
She was worth 6 points because she does have quite a bit of screen
time. So they're both 6. Okay, great. I'll take
6 points. Yep.
Great.
Matt, you're in the home stretch now. You only need 2 more, but what is your 5th deep cut for now?
5th shallow cut. I guess. I'm just gonna throw out. This one I know he's in it because this is not gonna be worth a lot of points. But Aaron Eckhart in The Dark Knight.
Yes, Aaron Eckhart is the DA.
Harvey Dent, please. He has
Harvey Dent becomes Two-Face.
He has it. That's right. He does.
He is also worth 3 points, the same as Michael Caine. There was a lot of like handsome blonde actors in the late 90s, early 2000s that all
they still have a lot of those, Jeff.
No, but I was just gonna say they all had a type. There was like the Aaron Eckhart, Guy Pearce, Josh Lucas, The Mentalist,
Simon Baker.
Guy
Pearce.
Guy Pearce, like they all had
He's
kind
not
of like
blonde.
Like in Memento,
he's Australian, so it causes an optical illusion.
It's a lot of sun.
He dyed his hair in one movie.
I mean, I guess I don't pay that much attention to what Guy Pearce's hair.
Have you watched only that and no other things that he's in? Like you never saw The Time Machine or The Proposition?
Was his hair not
LA
blonde?
Confidential.
The
Brutalist.
I mean, it's a dirty blonde.
The only difference now is they all have the same name. They're all just named Chris.
That's true.
Yes, you got to be named Chris. Yes. So Aaron Eckhart, 3 points, the same as Michael Caine.
Look, only one of them was in I, Frankenstein, or as it was known in Spanish-speaking territories, Yo, Frankenstein.
Is that true? That's awesome.
Yes,
That's
it is true, and yes, it is awesome. Similarly, I, Robot was known in Spanish-speaking territories
Yo Robot
as Yo Robot, a vastly superior title.
That's how
In
I
or
start
out
on
of
my
Spanish.
ChatGPTs. Yo Robot.
No, you have to be polite to the AI for when it takes over. When it becomes a Skynet situation, I want to be the one that was polite.
Yeah, I always say thank you.
Me too.
Anyway.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto, is what you would say.
They don't like that, Jeff. The robots don't like that.
No, okay. Kevin, you get your final 2 deep cuts here, number 5 and number 6.
Number 5, I'm going to go with I don't remember his name, so I'm going to do a description. He's the bank teller in The Dark Knight, and he is also a bad guy in a lot of things. But the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, what is his name? I don't know. I'm not ever going to know. But, he with the shotgun in the beginning.
Oh, I did him. That's William Fichtner.
You're thinking William Fichtner.
Dang it.
That's okay. You can take another one.
Take another one. Yeah, that's William Fichtner. He's the bank manager. Yeah.
Sorry, I stole that from you.
No, it's okay.
I think I got our first audio clip for social media, though, Alex, is when Kevin says a guy you already said. I love those ones.
Oh, yes. It's because I don't know any. I told you I didn't know anybody's name, man.
That's okay. I did that like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, is so and so in this? Like, yeah, we just said that. I'm like, oh
yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
I'm an embarrassment to myself and my city.
Your city.
Anyway, I'm just stalling now. Kevin Spacey.
Yep.
Kevin Spacey is in Baby Driver.
Baby Driver.
He is worth 2 points.
that movie's got some problematic people in it.
Super popular
Dude.
actor.
In
Nothing's
hindsight.
whatever happened to him? I wonder. I haven't heard about him.
I haven't seen anything for a while.
weird.
What's going on?
It's kind of a shame because like he usually does like really good movies, and then you're like, oh, can I watch these? I mean, I do, but Kevin, you've got your final deep cut.
Oh gosh. Well,
It's very close between you and Matt right now, but you got a chance here.
golly. The only name that's coming to my mind is Maggie Gyllenhaal in The Dark Knight.
Maggie Gyllenhaal, who does not make it. He goes to the wrong building. So Maggie Gyllenhaal
Spoiler
for
alert
3 points.
again.
Yeah.
The same as our other kind of like co-stars, Michael Caine, Aaron Eckhart.
Yep.
All right, Matt, you got your last one.
Yeah.
You
I
can take a big swing
I
if
was
you got
actually
something.
going to say Maggie Gyllenhaal, the big swing. Very funny. This is a real philosophical question. Is the Batman or Joker more famous? It's a great.
I mean,
when you think, I'm not going to say either one, but I'm just
Yeah,
looking
okay, I
at
was
the
gonna
list
say-
of names, and it's kind of an interesting thing to ponder. Like, who is more famous, Batman or it must be Batman, right?
It must be. He's in all three, right?
But the
He's
Joker is so
titular Dark
but
Knight.
the Joker is so twisted.
Jeff, what
And
are
I
the point
mean,
values?
He
for
has
reference?
in some versions he has a tattoo on his forehead. It says damaged.
Indeed.
What's
I think
more?
in terms of villains, the Joker's probably the most famous.
Sure. He's so twisted.
and I would say for this movie, it was like a career-defining performance for this one actor. Even though
Yeah, he
was
won a
already
posthumous Oscar for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but yeah, they're the same.
Sure.
Let's just say
they're
that.
the same. Okay. Well, let's say neither one, but let's go with, I guess it's really funny like to try to qualitatively ascertain who amongst movie stars is the least famous. Which I'm doing by going like, if I named this person to like my grandmother, would they
know who they are?
Know
Yeah.
who they were. I'm going to say Morgan Freeman in The Dark Knight.
Yep, you're the next. That's like you had your two leads, and then you had your kind of like your next tier of people, and then yes, just because of less screen time, more than anything, because I feel he's as famous.
It's pretty famous.
As pretty much anyone in this movie. So Morgan Freeman is worth 4 points, more so just for less screen time. And, people kind of forget that he's in that movie as Lucius Fox, I believe, right?
Mhm.
That's his,
It's the Woody
his character name.
Harrelson of that movie, if you will.
Yeah, famously, that's how he's described.
Alex Young, you got your final deep cut. It sounds like Morgan Freeman was just taken off the table for you.
It
but,
was. So I have two, but one I am 50-50 as if this person's in the Dark Knight or the Dark Knight Rises. So
Okay.
I'm not actually going to make that my guess. I'm gonna
Batman
take
is
a
in
safer
both of
one.
them. I'll just tell you right now.
Oh, well, in that case, I will take.
I'll help you
Bruce
out.
Wayne. So I'm going to save that as not a real guess. I'll give it to you after you can tell me if I was right or wrong. But my real guess, I don't think she's going to be worth a ton, but whatever. But Baby Driver, the love interest is Lily James.
Yeah, she is, Alex, of course. Lily James for 3 points as well.
Better than a zero.
What was your Dark Knight 50-50?
Anthony Michael Hall?
Yeah, he's the news reporter that gets kidnapped.
I thought it was the next one. I thought it was
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, no,
You
Anthony Michael Hall.
fool!
I know, what an idiot.
What's wrong
And you-
with you?
Fucking amateur.
You had it one.
How do
You could have gone
sleep
for it.
at night?
I don't.
Anthony Michael Hall.
I
in The
just
Dark
sit up
Knight Rises.
and I just
It's the most
rewatch Brad Pitt.
preposterous thing I've ever heard.
So let's see. Baby Driver, you guys pretty much cleaned the board, considering that you said, I haven't seen this, or I haven't seen it since it came out. I would say you missed two big deep cuts. There's a part where they're doing a deal to buy some guns, and everything goes horribly wrong, and a bunch of people get shot. The guy doing the deal is an actor by the name of an actor and a songwriter, if I'm not mistaken, Paul Williams. The little short guy.
Phantom
yeah.
Paradise. Paul Williams.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Paul Williams, and also there's a
Did not
voice.
remember that.
I'm not sure when it appears in the movie, but the writer and director Walter Hill is in the film.
That I
who
never knew. That's cool.
No.
The Driver. He made the movie The Driver, which obviously an influence on the prequel that people forget that Baby Driver is a prequel to The Driver, but that makes sense. Yeah.
So then from Dark Knight, another like 4-point ranger would have been Gary Oldman.
Of course.
Right.
And then some of the deeper cuts that maybe people forgot. One of the dirty cops that gets killed because Two-Face is hunting down all the dirty cops. Ron Dean, who's from The Fugitive. And he also played Emilio Estevez's dad in The Breakfast Club, who drops him off for detention.
Jeff, can I jump in? You know who I just remembered is in The Dark Knight, I'm pretty sure, is Nicky Cat.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, yes, is in it,
Yes,
Matt.
Christian Bale.
Nicky Cat is driving the SWAT truck with Gordon.
The slaughter truck beside.
You guys missed an actor by the name of Michael Stoyanov. He's Dopey in that opening scene where all the Jokers are wearing clown masks. He was Blossom's brother, the alcoholic in Blossom. David Delmatchin, Alex, is in it.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Lister Jr. He's the big African-American actor who is the president in The Fifth Element. He's got like the wonky eye. Does anyone remember that?
Tiny Lister.
Tiny Lister. He's on the boat. There's the two ferries that are leaving Gotham. That's right.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And he's got
right.
and he's like,
yes.
I'm going to do what you should have done. And he drops it over the side of the boat.
Right.
And yes, you got Nicky Cat. From No Country for Old Men, Garrett Dillahunt is Tommy Lee Jones's partner. Tess Harper is Tommy Lee Jones's wife. She is the mom on Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I kept trying to think who the wife was. I could not bring her name to my mind.
Barry Corbin from Northern Exposure and a bunch of other stuff is in it. Alex, I'm going to save this one because you're going to feel like a dummy. But at the very end of No Country for Old Men, when Javier Bardem's all beat up and he's just like trying to get away, and he sees there's two kids on bikes, and he's like, I'll give you $500 for that shirt. And it is an actor by the name of Caleb Landry Jones.
Really?
Oh, wow.
From Three Billboards, and he was Banshee in the X-Men movie, First Class, if I'm not mistaken, Kevin, which you watched a couple months ago. But Alex, who plays Kelly MacDonald's mom, therefore Josh Brolin's mom-in-law?
Somebody older?
She'd be
weirdly, it's not. It doesn't make any sense.
It's not Sandy Martin.
People hate this. This is why this movie has fallen. I forgot about it. It's this one.
Yeah, it was Penelope Cruz in 2007.
Yeah, they weirdly cast her. She's younger than Kelly MacDonald. It was just,
and they didn't even do makeup. It was a weird choice.
Bizarre.
It's Beth Grant.
Fuck. Of course it is.
Beth Grant from Donnie Darko. I'm just not sure you're really dedicated to Sparkle Motion.
Dedication to Sparkle Motion.
Yes, and so I really thought you were going to get that one. That she would have been a big one. So the final totals are Kevin, 28 points in third place. Okay. Matt, 31 points in second place. And begrudgingly, Alex Young is the winner with 46. Congratulations,
well
Alex.
Done.
It's my first win in a long time.
It's not that long. Everyone, there's one person who always posts like, Alex wins, I'm not listening again, kind of thing.
Is it you?
No, it's our friend Kevin Watson. Alex, who would you suggest, because this is your big prize, as a future guest on this show?
I mean, I feel like I'm texting you all the time with people. I'm like, reach out to this person on Instagram. They seem like they might be a nice fit. Man, I don't know. I didn't actually expect to win.
I didn't expect you to win either.
You know what?
I did expect to lose. Just to be
100%. I knew it wasn't gonna be me.
Yeah, you should have consulted us because we were very confident.
I mean, I could throw it to you guys who you'd suggest, but like, I don't know. Why don't we go for Edgar Wright? We're never gonna get him, but he'd be great at this game.
All right, Alex. We may have tried. No, I know we've tried like Simon Pegg before.
And I think we tried Guillermo del Toro, who seems local and accessible.
Because that's what we need. We just need people in the area. I'll try, Alex. I will try. Kevin, we've talked about your social media and where people can find your reviews, and you're talking about movies. Where can people find you? What's the best place to track what Kevin is watching?
Sure, you can go to my website, kevinwatchesmovies.com. You can follow me on Instagram, or you don't have to follow me. You can just look at it. That'd be nice. At Kevin Watches Movies. Also at Kevin Watches Movies on Blue Sky.
That's right. Blue Sky. I think that's where we met, was on Blue Sky. It seems like a nice place to meet people who just like watching movies, right?
Yeah. It's got a great movie community already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice. Matt, where can people find you and learn more about the movies you're watching? I know, I'm once again new computer, but yeah, where can people track you down?
Can they track me down? This is what
like a
am I
detective,
am
like
I a
some sort
fugitive
of
from justice?
yes.
If I am, I shouldn't tell them where I am. I should be on the run. That's why I'm recording this in this bunker,
in
like
this very nondescript
this
room,
very
yes.
bland room in my if they want to track me down, I'm also on a Blue Sky occasionally. I think my name there is @Matt Singer. I'm on Instagram as well. My name is not Matt Singer there. What is my name? I think it's Super Pulse on Instagram. Screen Crush, obviously, is the website that I'm working at. And yes, those books we talked about earlier are both still for sale. I think you can, maybe the easiest way to find out more on that is just to Google my name and those books, or I think my website's address is matt-singer.com. And yeah, you can do any of those things.
Perfect. Now,
but don't track me down. Leave me alone.
Leave him alone. Just
For
read
God's
his
sake,
stuff.
leave me alone.
That's why he puts it out there in the world, so he doesn't need to be
just
tracked
because down. I didn't know Tess Harper's name. Don't track me down.
Alex, I had pitched something to you earlier today. We are going to start doing something as we've got about 6 more episodes till we get to our mid-season finale, and we're going to start working on what we consider our Deep Cuts Hall of Fame. So we're going to each nominate a guy and a girl, actor or actress, one of each for the next 6 weeks. So I was going to ask you, who is your first nominee? It could be the guy or the girl. Who are you bringing to the table as your first nominee?
Well, you did mention her earlier, which I think is probably why you had. But Beth Grant. Beth Grant is for sure on my list because I feel like I'm always surprised to see her and stuff, and she's obviously never the star. She's Kevin Bacon's mom right now.
I was going to say, yeah, she might almost be getting
Bondsman?
to that next level of, where she is Kevin Bacon's mom in The Bondsman. Yeah. So to match you with Beth Grant, Alex, I'm going with Lynn Shay.
Yep, from the Insidious movies.
Yes, and also she's
something
Magda.
About Mary.
Something about Mary. She's Magda, yeah, and she's been in like Critters, and she was in all the Farrelly Brothers films like Kingpin, Me, Myself, and Irene, and Dumb and Dumber, Stuck on You, even. So, but yes, most famously,
Bob Shay, right? The founder of, was it New Line Cinema? I want to say.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Didn't know. I
might have just maybe I just made that up. I don't know. Somebody fact check me. I could maybe it's a coincidence. I don't know.
But she's been around since like the 70s doing acting. So, but yeah, just the fact that the woman who's like the kind of like the medium in Insidious is also Magda, and There's Something About Mary is nice. So, Alex, that's your pick for female actor. Who's your male pick?
So I want to say Toby Huss because I love Toby Huss and he's not in enough stuff. But my real answer, because I feel like I have to, is James Hong. Because if you have more than 450 acting credits, like, fair enough.
James Hong. Yeah, fair enough. You could probably just say his name for most movies, and he might be in it. Mine is, we've talked about him a lot, is I think he's the GOAT of deep cuts is the actor Bob Stevenson. Who his only like real starring role, Alex, was Ultrasound, that movie.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
but he's in like Lady Bird. He's in Fight Club. He's in Seven, Con Air, The Game, Zodiac. He must know Fincher somehow, or David Fincher. Sorry, I'm thinking William Fincher.
William Fincher?
No.
Yeah, they might be friends. Who knows?
And he was also in Top Gun Maverick, which I think you love, if I'm not mistaken. So
I liked it.
Okay, so those are our first 4 nominees for the Deep Cuts Hall of Fame.
That everyone's been holding their breath for years.
Alex, what do you got going on before we get out of here?
I mean, my usual: support your local rep cinema, buy physical media where you can. You can find me on Letterboxd and Instagram, Goodreads, everywhere, all at just the Alex Young. Goodreads. Yeah, I'm reading a lot of books lately. Check me out.
All right,
keep track my progress.
And you're sending me an outro.
Yes,
Alex every week sends me an outro that he makes me read. Is there any sort of notes for this, Alex? Do I have to do a stupid voice?
Yes. When do you ever not have to do a stupid voice? So in this one, to tie it back to the beginning where we were talking about Nintendo games and stuff, Jeff, give me your best a Mario.
which I'm allowed to do, right? Like I can.
Yeah,
do...
the Italian accent's fine.
I'm
no one's mad
gonna be
about
so
it.
offended, and I'm not even I'm not even Italian, and I'm ready to be just right with a congressperson or something.
It's a me, Jeffrey-o. That's the end of our show. Hope you had a fun listening. Congratulations to this week's winner, Alex. You got a star. Follow a Deep Cuts anywhere you get your podcasts, and remember, you won't know how high you can jump until you try. So long, eh? Woo! Thank you very much, everyone. See you next week at Deep Cuts.